I'm going to be talking about how the Terminator CPU could have been made and what it could be made of. One thing to mention is that in Terminator 2, they went and destroyed that processor that the guy was working on, that he made based on the CPU from the first Terminator. But the problem with that is all they did was prevent the processor from becoming more advanced. I'm going to assume they used Intel chips and then the Terminators based future technology off of them. But it's possible that they could have used any CPU to do that. We don't know what exactly they used because it was never mentioned. This is just my guess on it. So as far as the CPU being made, it was obviously based off of a technology that existed at the time. As far as how the CPU was made, in Terminator 2, it was stated that Judgment Day took place in 1997, and the best processor at that time from Intel was the Pentium 2, which could have had a clock rate from 233 to 450 megahertz. Front side bus of 66 megahertz to 100 megahertz. So originally, when it happened in 1997 the first time, the Terminator processor could have been a Pentium 2. And in Terminator 3, it shows a boot sequence when he reboots himself, and it says 4 processors available. So that says that the Terminator has 4 processors plus other chips that do different things on that one big chip that you see in Terminator 2. But since that didn't happen because they stopped Judgment Day somehow, even though all they really did was prevent them from using the chip from the first Terminator to make more advanced chips. On Terminator 3 takes place, according to what I found, in July 2003, and 2004 began the first year that they made a 64-bit Pentium 4, so the chip would have had to been based on a 32-bit system. Pentium 4 hyperthreading 3.2 gigahertz came out about a month before Terminator 3 was supposed to have taken place, which is when the machines finally took over and launched all the nukes. I'm not using supercomputers for this comparison because, from what I've researched about them, they have way too much hardware to be considered on such a small chip. And it's stated that they only last a few years. Many of them have thousands of processors, so there's no way that that would work, especially since it was stated in Terminator 3 that they have 4 processors. So since the event happened in 2003, I'm going to assume that they had at least 4 Pentium 4s or some equivalent chip on the Terminator chip. So they had 4 Pentium 4s, plus they would obviously have to have other components that computers have, such as ROM, RAM, and flash memory on the chips as well. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.